Welcome, Real Boogie. This is the last video of the series Road to the Super Bowl. I hope you continue learning with us here. On this video, you'll learn about the NFC South. First team for today is the Atlanta Falcons. The Atlanta Falcons have been part of the National Football League since the 1966 season. Won a Super Bowl title, but has plenty history within the franchise. Let's take a look at some of the important history within the franchise. The Atlanta Falcons, when they first started playing, were at the Atlanta Fulton County Stadium. If you're not familiar with this venue, it's where the Atlanta Braves of the Major League Baseball played their home games for many seasons. In 1992, the Falcons moved over to the Georgia Dome. They spent 24 seasons there before moving to Mercedes-Benz Stadium in 2017. The Falcons, like many teams in the National Football League, were named after a contest with fans. A proud and dignified bird with great courage and fight. It never drops its prey. It's a deadly and has a great tradition of sport. The name Falcons goes along well with a team name in the National Basketball Association in Atlanta named the Hawks. Matt Ryan is the most successful quarterback in franchise history, with nearly 60,000 passing yards. Julio Jones will go down as one of the most elite receivers of all time, with nearly 13,000 receiving yards and 60 touchdowns. The Falcons are on record for one of the shortest games of all time. The Falcons and the Patriots in 1972 had a game of just 2 hours and 16 minutes. Atlanta has been to the Super Bowl twice in their franchise history. Super Bowl 33 in Miami saw the Denver Broncos smack the Falcons around 34-19. The most recent time the Atlanta Falcons were in the Super Bowl was one that you would like to forget. The Atlanta Falcons were cruising along in Super Bowl 51. Atlanta led game 28-3 and lost the game 34-28 to the New England Patriots. The Falcons were 11-5 in the regular season and quarterback Matt Ryan was named the league's MVP, but this game would haunt their franchise for many years. Atlanta has won 6 divisional titles. They've been to the postseason 14 times. Matt Ryan is the most popular Atlanta Falcons signal caller. Ryan is also the most successful as far as keeping the job as quarterback. There's only one guy with a better win percentage, and that's Mike Vick. From 2001 to 2006, Vick went 38-28. Ryan finished his career at 102-102, making him the only quarterback in franchise history with 100-plus wins and also 100-plus losses. The Falcons have 3 guys that they consider their own, while 5 other guys were part of the organization at one point and then made the Hall of Fame. The first Falcon to ever make the Pro Football Hall of Fame was Deion Sanders. Next was Claude Humphrey, a defensive end from 1968 to 1978. The most recent was Morton Anderson. Anderson was in the league 25 years, with 8 of them all being with the Falcons. The guys in the Hall of Fame that only spent a portion of their career in Atlanta are Tommy McDonald, Eric Dickerson, Chris Dolman, Brett Favre, and Tony Gonzalez. Frederick Freddie Falcon is the official mascot of the team. He has been part of the action at the games in Atlanta for nearly 35 years. That's all about the Falcons. Now it's turn for the Carolina Panthers. They came into the National Football League at the start of the 1995 season and were the 29th franchise in the history of the National Football League. The Panthers play their games in Charlotte, which now has 2 professional sports teams in the city, with the Hornets of the National Basketball Association being the other one. The Panthers are one of the teams remaining in the league without a Super Bowl title. Let's take a look at some of the best and worst of Carolina Panthers franchise history. The Panthers played 1 year in Memorial Stadium, which was the home of the Clemson Tigers in 1995. That was used only to help workers finish up Bank of America Stadium in Charlotte. Once Bank of America Stadium was completed, the Panthers started to play there. Jerry Richardson was the team president at the time. The story goes that his son Mark was on the sole reason behind the name Panthers. A couple of other choices were the Cobras, Rhinos, or Cougars. Mark chose the Panthers as it felt represented the strength and power that he wanted from his team in the city, with the colors black, silver, and blue. As the 2023 season starts, the Carolina Panthers come in with 212 career wins. The Panthers are 9-8 in the postseason. Some names that come to mind when thinking of the Carolina Panthers include Cam Newton and his nearly 30,000 passing yards, Jonathan Stewart, the running back with over 7,000 career rushing yards, Steve Smith, who finished with 67 receiving touchdowns for Carolina. Also, Ron Rivera is the winningest head coach in franchise history with 76 wins. Carolina Panthers have never won a Super Bowl. The Panthers have gone to the Super Bowl twice and lost both games. Carolina has 6 divisional titles under their belt. The team has been to the postseason 8 times in team history. Cam Newton is at the top of all statistics when it comes to the Patriots quarterbacks. He is the only quarterback to start in more than 100 games for the Panthers. Newton went 68-60 and 1 tie in 129 starts for the Panthers. Next on the list is Jake Delhomme with 91, then Steve Berline with 59. Kerry Collins started 45, and no one else finished their career with more than 30. Dom Capers was the first ever head coach of the Carolina Panthers, but John Fox serves the longest tenured. Oddly enough, the third name, Ron Rivera, was the most regular season wins in franchise history. Sir Purr is the Carolina Panthers' official mascot. He is a Panther that wears a football jersey to all home games and is the number 00. The website lets him as licking Falcons, Eagles, and Seahawks as their favorite snack. In an odd statistic, during the 2012 season, the Carolina Panthers lost their first 13 coin flips of the season. The Panthers finally won one in 2014. Finally, because the franchise is located in Charlotte, many perceive the franchise as a North Carolina team, but the organization claims they are both for North and South Carolina equally. With all that being said about the Panthers, here's the term for the New Orleans Saints. The New Orleans Saints have been around the National Football League since the 1967 season. The Saints are the pride of New Orleans, and they are known for some of the rabid fans of the league. Let's take a look at some of the most important information when it comes to the Saints. When the Saints started their franchise, they started playing at Tulane Stadium. The Green Wave and the Saints shared the venue from 1967 to 1974. The Superdome was then built, and the team started their seasons there in 1975. They have continued to play there even today. The Superdome was the original name of the venue. While some know it as the Mercedes-Benz Superdome and the Louisiana Superdome, it is a multi-purpose location that has seen a ton of great action. The first National Football League game was played in 1975 when the Saints were smacked by the Cincinnati Bengals. The franchise adopted its name due to the rich Catholic identity that the city of New Orleans once had. The city also has a connection with Louis Armstrong and his famous song, "When the Saints Go Marching In," very popular and symbolized the franchise. The team was founded on November 1st, which is known as All Saints Day. The franchise comes into the 2023 season with 403 wins in its history. New Orleans has just 10 postseason wins as well. Drew Brees is and always has been known as the most popular player to play with the team. Brees was the fantastic, finishing with over 68,000 passing yards and 491 touchdowns. Morton Anderson is another name that the Saints fans will not forget. His 1,318 points in his career is the leader for the franchise. Sean Payton is another name fans will not forget. He won 152 games as the head coach of the franchise and an all-time leader. The 2011 Saints were one of the highest scoring teams of all of the National Football League with 547 points. This is an average of 34 points per game. The New Orleans Saints have only been to the Super Bowl once in their franchise history, and that was a winner. The Saints won Super Bowl 44 to close it out in the 2009 season. The Saints have won their division 9 times in franchise history. New Orleans has made the postseason 14 times. The New Orleans Saints have 4 of their guys they can call their own in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. There are 4 others that have played with the Saints during their career, and additionally 2 coaches and executives. Until the selection of Ricky Jackson in 2010, there were no Saints that had their time primarily as Saints to get inducted in. After Ricky Jackson came offensive tackle Willie Roaf. Roaf played from 1993 to 2001 with the Saints. He was inducted in 2012. The last 2 guys from the Saints inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame were Morton Anderson at kicker from 1982 to 1994 and Sam Mills at linebacker from 1986 to 1994. Here are some final tidbits about the New Orleans Saints that you may or may not know. Number 1. It took the Saints 20 seasons before reaching the postseason for the first time. Number 2. The Saints were one of the first teams to play a game outside of the USA. The Saints and Eagles played in Mexico City back in 1978. Number 3. During the 1980 season, the team lost their first 14 games of the season. Many referred to them as the Aints. The fans wore paper bags over their heads for home games. Number 4. The song, "When the Saints Go March In," played every time there's a touchdown scored at home. Number 5. The Saints have 2 mascots, Sir Saint and also Gumbo the dog. Number 6. The Saints cheerleaders are called the Saintsations. The final team on this video in this series is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are a franchise that will be enjoyed for its 47th season in the NFL. The Buccaneers have had the highest of highs and the lowest of lows during their franchise existence. The team joined the National Football League in 1976 as an expansion team, the same season Seattle came into the league. Let's take a look at some of the most important information when it comes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They have had just 2 venues that they have called home. When they first started playing in the league, they were at Tampa Stadium. They played at this venue all the way up into the 1997 season. In 1998, that's when they moved to Raymond James Stadium, one of the most recognizable venues in the league. The venue has hosted 3 Super Bowls, along with College Football National Championship and other mega events. When the franchise was told they were going to get a team in Tampa, they immediately started planning for what was to come. The team elected to have a name, the name contest. Buccaneers was the reference to the pirates who often came to Florida Gulf Coast way back in the 17th century. It did not take long for the name to be shortened to the Bucs, and the rest is history from there. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have won 299 games in their franchise history. Matt Bryant hit a 60-yard field goal against Philadelphia in 2006, and at that time, it was the third longest field goal made in an NFL game. Now has moved to the 7th all-time. The Tampa Bay defense also went 50 straight games with a sack and a forced turnover. The Buccaneers have won the Super Bowl titles in franchise history. They are a perfect 2-2 in Super Bowls. They have not been back there another time. Tampa Bay has won 8 divisional titles in franchise history. The first 3 came in NFC Central, while the next 5 came in the NFC South. Oddly enough, the Buccaneers won division titles in back-to-back seasons for the first time in franchise history in 2021 and 2022. Tampa Bay has been to the postseason 13 times. Trent Dilfer leads the list of starting quarterbacks for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers as far as games started. Dilfer started 76 games but went just 38-38. The others on the list for the games started in order include Vinny Testaverde, Jameis Winston, Doug Williams, Jose Freeman, Tom Brady, and Brad Johnson. Only 7 quarterbacks have made starts in the postseason for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tom Brady has the most starts with 7, as he won 5 of those games. Brad Johnson and Doug Williams made 4 starts. Johnson won 3 of those games, while Williams just won 1 and 1. Other guys, Trent Dilfer and Sean King, won 1 game in the franchise, while Chris Sims and Garcia lost their starts. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers have 5 guys they consider their own in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. They also have a coach as well. Captain Fear is the Tampa Bay Buccaneers mascot. He is a Caribbean Pirates captain. He has blue eyes and black hair. In 2000, he replaced a parrot mascot with the name Scully. The franchise has changed its team logo and colors 5 times in team history. We've had a blast during the last few weeks reviewing all these teams in the NFL. Thank you for joining me on this journey. Please subscribe to our channel to get new content every week.